Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. So in order to do like a Mr. Beast style intro with the hands and motions, we're going to talk about the patch, what's happened, and basically what I've achieved over very few hours I've got to play Dark and Darker the past couple weeks. Is the patch a W? Is patch an L? We're going to do a little discussion about this and show some of my more fun moments. I think in general people were a little concerned because the patch had, you could say, light amount of content. That wouldn't be something I would argue with. But in saying that, there's a ton of things that make this patch feel so much different. It's crazy. So, my early strategy, what I've done, and basically thanks to people in chat and people that have been watching my Twitch channel, I jumped straight into Goblin Caves HR. Now, as we can tell here, we're going to check my player statistics. I pretty much leveled up from 1 to 20 in Goblin Cave HR, and we played 24 games, 17 extractions. Towards the end, my goal was simply, we need Stash Tab. So everything I was doing basically was just collecting loot, avoiding any battles I thought were maybe more difficult or against opponents that had slightly better gear. So this was about 6 or 7 hours of gameplay, I want to say. And we pretty much made enough gold for a Stash Tab after that. Immediately after that, I started to realize the new thing that they added, questing. You pretty much need to be in crypts or ruins. And that was probably one of the things I thought was a little bit frustrating. So, in terms of content, there was questing, some stat changes, and then a whole host of things that were kind of hidden. Like all these new, as you're going to see, some of the rewards for questing is a lot better than I was expecting. Questing is a lot more intense and slightly more difficult than I imagined, which leads to one of the things I enjoy the least. Pretty much looking at one thing that's going to basically gatekeep my tier 3 armor, which will be confronting the Lich. Something a solo player is almost never going to be able to achieve successfully in a short amount of time. I think there was a few comments going around saying it's 15 Lich kills, and if that's the case, this is one thing I'll likely never be able to achieve. A solo player, I pretty much only ever access the game via solo gameplay, whether that be solo crypts or solo goblin caves. I don't know how I'm ever going to achieve this Lich one, and on top of that, this one as well. Kill 5 Demon Bats, it's probably more likely, but Demon Berserkers and those things and running into hell does not seem like something I will be doing that consistently. And the only thing, that's my only thing I really struggle with on this patch, and I think an easy fix for this, if they want to cater towards solo players, I'm not saying they have to, I don't care if they cater towards me, I'm just saying for someone that has only played maybe less than 10 hours of this new patch, it's one thing I basically said in my mind, this is pretty much unachievable for me. So if they wanted to do this, maybe they need to adjust it so there's like a solo option for these and a trio option. So for example, if you're doing armor, perhaps if you're confronting the Lich or trying to do this third tier, maybe it's 15 Lich kills or 35 HR Goblin Caves troll kills, or perhaps the new boss being the Cyclops. Give solo players an option, make it really difficult, it does not matter, but make it something that you can achieve through solo gameplay. Because it does feel a little strange to be just forced to go into these other modes, which you're not going to have a lot of success with in order to access a lot of good content. And the content that they kind of hid within these quests are all these craftables. I've seen pictures of more. I have not been able to unlock much. I've been very briefly dipping into ruins to try to get some skeleton kills and stuff. But there are like +3 all capes, which require a shit ton of gold. And they're really costly, but it is very neat to see the fact that you can level up your armor or whatever it may be, leathersmith, and have rewards or craftables that are very strong. Truthfully, I was not expecting that many craftables in the game. So that's a W. Overall, I think the patch itself has been one of the most positive things the game has had in a long time. I think the community would agree. Just my small L would be the questing and the fact that as a solo player, there's some of it I'm just going to be struggling with big time. Other than that, the W's basically are everywhere. One of my favorite things just magically became going into ruins for these quests, which was killing skeletons on top of other things like mimics. And ruins and normal lobbies have been so damn fun. So damn fun. It is crazy. You can run into ruins and feel like the old Dark and Darker. Like playtest 3, playtest 4, Dark and Darker. So that has been very exciting for me. I hope I get to Pathfinder in Goblin Caves HR, which I should be able to do. But now I'm trying to focus more on questing so I can get some unlocks. Perhaps I'll be able to get these 15 leather caps at some point. And this is another thing that a lot of people have been frustrated with. The fact that you have to have them all in your inventory at one time. It truthfully hasn't bothered me that much. Once I ran Goblin Caves HR and realized I basically needed space, it kind of forces you. It forces you to upgrade your stash tab. And it's essentially a gold sink that everyone needs to invest in. It's kind of a funny, interesting way that they've forced players to spend money other than on gear or other items in the market. So if you're like a casual player like myself and you need a space, 3k gold takes a long time. And it took me 3 or 4 different gaming sessions, which I think was maybe better than most players with 17 out of 24 extractions on Goblin Caves. So I have stash tab, and truthfully, it doesn't upset me too much that I can't turn these all in at once. It's almost like a little hidden way for them to try to force players to invest in their stash. I don't know if it's going to change. A lot of people saying it was an oversight, and sure, it is more convenient. But convenient is just kind of a shortcut, and truthfully, if I didn't have to stash these, I probably wouldn't have invested that 3k gold for a long time. I would not have. Last patch, I didn't do it for a very long time because I didn't really need all that room as a solo player. But now, I seriously have to consider how to make gold faster. So, that is just my brief. I just want to give you guys a rundown. We are going to talk a little bit about runes and normal lobbies. I think they're way more fun than I was expecting. Again, it's forcing players, or it's allowing players with this idea of HR being free. You can find some decent gear, some scraps and normals, or even just some money, or some fun PvP, which I've been having in runes, and then run it into High Roller. And it's making High Roller way more popular, which I think was the biggest problem in the past. No one was playing HR, and it contributed to so many problems within the game, as in people just rolling normal lobbies with good gear, and then no one playing HR, so if you wanted to try HR, it was just a dead lobby, and you were fighting mobs. Currently, I've enjoyed Goblin Caves HR. Teaming may be a problem once in a while, because there's so many ways to escape, and there's just no reason to really fight, because everyone is desperate for gold and action points, or adventure points, sorry. So that is maybe a problem, but in general, I think this is probably the best HR and normals have felt as like a combination. And I think the game is really gearing up towards a full raid type event with ruins into Howling Crypts into Hell. And I think it is even better because we have white gear, and so your progression turns into finding a piece of gear, finding some pants maybe in ruins. You're running this gear into Howling Crypts, and then you start upgrading weapons even more, and you're finding like blues and some weapons, which I don't really have a lot of apparently. And now your team or your trio is like, should we be bossing? So you're going into Hell. And perhaps they introduce that mode where they're going to combine lobbies in Hell together. So if you go and you get into Hell, you actually queue against other teams that have also made it to Hell. And then you get to see kind of this adventure or this story continue, as in like you're progressed to the point where you've got blue gear, maybe a few rings, you're perhaps bossing, and then you're also in a full Hell lobby, which is something you never really see. That is my dream. But other than that, I just wanted to make you guys a quick video on like round up some of my thoughts. I know it's a bit of a strange style. I don't think everyone's going to completely agree with me, but I do think in general, maybe it's just because I'm a fighter player. Maybe that's it. Fighter is very, very strong right now, but I have been enjoying my brief time I've had in Goblin Caves or in Ruins. Ruins has been hilariously fun. So enjoy yourselves in there. I'll see you guys all in the next video, and I promise you, once I'm done with this new work and all this shit going on, I'll get back to more permadeath stories. I have so many I want to do. Okay, we will get there. And I wish you all the best of luck. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.